Welcome to this exciting episode of GenAI Live. My name is Brian Terry, and I'm a Senior Partner Solution Architect here at AWS focusing on GenAI migrations. And I'm joined here with my good friend, Parajad. Parajad, welcome, and how about you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Brian. Hello, everyone. I'm Parijat Avasti, and I'm a senior partner solution architect at AWS, specializing in migrations and modernizations using generative AI solutions.
All right. Well, we're excited to have you here. If this is the first time joining us, we're super excited to have you here. For continued viewers, we're excited that you're back. Parajat, I think this is going to be another fantastic episode. I'm super excited about this.
Absolutely. And I've got some updates. And the big one is Kiro. So Kiro is now available for every developer. So since its launch more than 90 days ago, more than 100,000 developers have joined the waitlist to try out, and now the waitlist is gone. So if you want to try out this spec-driven approach to coding with AI, you can sign up now. Second update is on the agent core, which is again generally available now. So it makes it possible for every developer to get the agents from pilot to full scale production fast. And the third update, I'm not sure. I've been out away from the show for quite some time. I don't know if you talked about Quick Suite. So Quick Suite is an AWS's agentic AI application that helps employees transform how they find insights, conduct deep research, automate tasks, visualize data, and take actions across the apps. And it connects you to your different information sources across internal repositories like wikis, intranets, popular applications like AWS services such as S3, Redshift, and with the MCP you can connect it to more than 1,000 applications. So great updates, yeah.
Oh man, that's super exciting stuff. I too have some updates too. I just want to call out our good partner Anthropic because they just released premium seats for Claude Code on AWS Marketplace. And I actually just wrote a blog on it. So please check out our Marketplace blog and you can find out how you can use Claude Code from the Marketplace for my good friends in Anthropic.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm excited
Yes.
to read about it in your blog, right?
Yeah. We'll try to drop a link here. I think it's super
Yeah,
exciting. Yeah, this is a big leap for Marketplace and a big leap for our partner Anthropic. And it's also using 4.5, which is really cool.
yeah. I mean, I'm just amazed by the speed of all the developments happening in this space. So, and our partners are doing such a wonderful, work. They're bringing these innovative solutions. So I think speaking of partner, I think let's invite our partner for this segment of the show.
Hello, and welcome to GenAI Live. And we're super excited to have you here. How about we let you introduce yourselves?
Thanks for having us, Brian and Parijat. I'm Ishwar Lingam, co-founder and CEO of Fission Labs.
Hey
Welcome.
guys, my name is Hemant and I'm CTO of FloTorch. We are going to talk about, I know the names sound two different names, but they are one and the same entity. We'll talk about it in a few seconds.
Oh wow, I'm a super a fan of both of your companies. I'm super excited that you're here to talk about Gen AI and your use case, and I'm just blown away. So let's start with a little bit about who your company is and what your company does for the audience that doesn't know.
Sure. We'll start with a quick introduction of Fission Labs, and then I'll hand over to co-founder Hemant here at FloTorch. Fission Labs started off as a product development services company. We worked cloud first, cloud native. We mainly worked with the Silicon Valley startups. That's how we cut our teeth. Uh, our specialization is taking companies from 0 to 1, and over the years have mastered the art of taking 1 to n also. So we claim expertise with both working with startups, which require very agile, almost like processless development in a way, and at the same time work with mature organizations, which require process driven development, security, other stuff, right? So we have gotten our foot into the enterprises through our startup partners itself. Some of the companies that we worked with were acquired by enterprises like Comcast, Rakuten Marketing, Juniper, etc. And that's how we are gotten good with both, traversing both the ecosystems. Over the last few years, we have built expertise in AI and GenAI product development and services, and we have helped several of our customers taking production their workloads to production. And while doing that, we have come across several needs that are unmet, and that's the germination for FloTorch. And with that, I'll hand over to Hemant, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, Ishwar. So, like Ishwar mentioned, uh, FloTorch is a byproduct of us working with hundreds of clients in the GenAI space. And we have learned a few things and we have incorporated them in order to make it easier for our customers and future customers to use these tools and do the GenAI development faster. So, I hope you guys can see my screen. I'm just going to uh, just go through the presentation and then give you a live demo of what it means. So if I look at the GenAI Adoption Index that was published by AWS earlier this year, uh, 44% in the top tier are looking at production or workflow integrations. And then there are about another 47% that are looking at exploring or proof of concept. Their needs are different, right? So for the uh, 47% that are looking at proof of concept or exploring, they need to try different LLMs. They need to figure out what agents work with what LLMs. Do I need memory? Where do I use agent core? uh, what are the costs, right? And then the next step would be to kind of, okay, how do I move to production? What's the consideration for security, governance, observability? And then once you are in production, you are looking at integrating with different APIs and SDKs with MCP servers so that you can keep extending its abilities, keep making it efficient or making it smarter with the newer version of models that keep getting released. So the challenge for an organization is at different levels, right? This is a pyramid uh, that you can imagine at any organization with some roles similar to these GenAI engineer, managers, CTOs, CIOs, right? For GenAI engineers or the builders among us, our challenge is to develop with some coding assistant. We heard about Kiro, we heard about some other options with Anthropic code, but all those options need to work within the current orchestration framework that I have chosen and work in a way where I know what my costs are, what my different options are. For the managers, they want to know how these tools can be standardized, how LLM access can be managed so that they're not raking up costs and going over their daily limits or monthly limits, but staying within those limits and making sure that their teams are still productive. For the technology folks, CIOs, CTOs, or even your administrators for IT, they want to know about the observability, what guardrails we have in place for GenAI projects, and what security are we considering. And then at highest level, they want to see what the usage and costs are. Is it gonna generate the revenue that we are looking to generate? Is it gonna keep my costs in check? What is the impact overall? So, given these different demands from a single GenAI problem statement from different parts of the organization, we wanted to make sure that they get addressed with single pane of glass. So that's what FloTorch is. It's a gateway that will not look very different. So on the left hand side, you will see a code that is making a call to Gemini model here. Okay. And on the right hand side, it's doing the exact same thing using FloTorch approach. So instead of Gemini API key, you're using your FloTorch API key. And then instead of some URL endpoint, you're using the gateway endpoint. And instead of specific model name, you are using the model name that is registered with FloTorch gateway. So you'll notice that the rest of the stuff pretty much remains same, except a few additional import statement and then the way you get the response back. And that is true not just for Gemini, any model for that matter. But what is happening behind the scene is something that is very interesting, right? So if you consider typical business application, right, it could be a chatbot, it could be some agentic workflow that is being used for text to SQL or anything, right? Let's look at the simple LLM example with say chatbot. So you have a business application, it makes a request to your GenAI application, which is using some LLM hosted on AWS, Bedrock, or some other provider. uh, you will need to make consideration for guardrails. Bedrock does offer guardrails as part of it. Uh, then you'll need to also consider the caching options with agent core memory, with model routing, observability, and then each of these choices will have to be secure in order to make the options available at application level and then give the response back to your business application. Remember the difference between Agent Core Gateway, which is a great product, and FloTorch Gateway is that Agent Core Gateway is in the cloud for the models that you access. FloTorch Gateway sits on within your environment and it's an application level gateway. So they have two different purposes that they serve, right? So if you consider the same application but now within FloTorch, then you'll realize that it's FloTorch gateway is within your environment on your VPC or wherever you're hosting your stack. And then there is something, every request goes through the gateway through observability governance. So we already know what permissions and rights and security needs to be put in place, that has been set up. And then every FloTorch model, which is essentially a wrapper, includes guardrails. It could be Bedrock guardrails, input and output, and it has model routing and caching options embedded with it for any third-party LLM as well as locally hosted LLM. So it could be not just SageMaker or Bedrock hosted endpoint, but also something you host locally on your GPU, say within your stack, right? It could be also part of it, so long as it is OpenAI compatible format. So if that's the way it works, right? What does a typical FloTorch model look like in FloTorch, right? So you'll notice that I can add one or multiple models here, right? And they could be from different providers. And then you can have different routing strategies as well. It could be round robin with simple caching or no caching. Depending on your application, you can set those options, and it could be SLA based, it could be time based. For example, between 10 in the morning and 1 o'clock my local time, I get unusual number of requests, so I can increase my uh, ability to respond at those hours with maybe smaller models like Nova Micro, which are highly efficient and faster. And then maybe at off peak hours, I can use my larger models like Sonnet or Nova Pro, Nova Premier as per my need, right? And then, like I said, your input output guardrails are built in along with any model that gets routed, the request gets routed to. So it could be a Nova model, it may not be, but you can still use your Bedrock guardrails to actually vet the response of the LLM as well as check the input query as well. So if that's what your model looks like, agent, as we know, is basically combination of four ingredients, right? You have a LLM model like a FloTorch model that we are seeing here, but apart from that, you also have tools, you have user interaction and memory. So memory is something that we are going to launch in coming months with agent core memory integration. We will support mem0 and agent core memory both, but as of now we support tools with MCP as well as local tools, and any FloTorch model that is already built in with guardrails and routing. And then we define the schema for input and output schema for the agent, define agent goals and system prompt. If you have this kind of setup for FloTorch model and for FloTorch agent, it allows you to create flows that are really useful. So mark this slide. There is a QR code for where the code sample is on GitHub repo. I'm going to run this example, but let's consider a simple example that is using two FloTorch agents. We'll set up those agents with an account on FloTorch.ai. It is free to register. It will be free to use Bedrock LLMs from 24th October. We are announcing, this is early preview for you guys. From 24th October, we'll make daily free tokens available on any AWS Bedrock LLM. If you use it through FloTorch.ai, that's our strong partnership with AWS that we are able to announce this, and we'll be able to set up two agents. First agent would be a topic creator agent, for which we'll pass some local or PDF URL. There is a local tool that will parse the PDF file and will come up with 5 topics for the content from the content of the PDF. And then based on those 5 topics, the second agent gets that as input, those 5 topics. It will expand on each of them and it will write a summary representation. So if there are two agents, topic creator and content writer, you should be able to see the output of the content. You should be able to see the observability traces as well as the token counts and latencies, all available on FloTorch. So let me show you how it looks like. The example code, you can just scan this QR code and run it. How it will look like is something like this. When you click on that QR code, let me share my screen and show you.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that, the free trial. I'm actually going to be trying that after this conversation.
Absolutely. And one more thing, even if you register today, you will start getting free tokens from 24th October. So it's not that far. Even if you try today, you should be eligible to get it. Let me quickly share my screen and give me a second.
Yeah, I find the solution to be super interesting that you have input and output guardrails. I think that's highly important when you're
Yes.
deploying these things in production, and it's awesome that you guys have it built in.
Yes. And so if you scan that QR code, you'll come to something like this. This is a content writer IPython notebook. You can run this in SageMaker as well if you have a SageMaker account. Today, for the sake of simplicity and the time we have, I'll run it in Google Colab, but the same code works. So if you click on that button on Open in Colab, it will open something like this, where you'll see the same notebook loaded in my Google Colab account. And just to quickly go through it, it tells you what the steps are. You will install the required libraries. You will install the FloTorch SDK. The third step is to pass on the FloTorch API key. You can get that easily by going to your FloTorch account. I'll show you right now. If you go to your FloTorch account, your workspace looks like something like this. You'll go to your settings, API keys here, and you should be able to get your API key, right? So I'm using the production demo key here for today's demo, and you will copy paste it here. Once you have set up your example app name and your agents, I'll give you what this TC and CW are. Topic creator and content writer are two agents that I have created. Let me show you what they look like. If my models are here, model 6, 7, 8, they are using Nova Pro and some other models along with it. Gemini 2.5 Flash would be one of the models. And then if I go to my agent builder, I'll see that they have two agents created, one called TC, which is a topic creator agent, and the second one is content writer. I have some other agents as well, some in draft stage, some that I've published, right? So let me show you what the topic creator agent looks like. It is using model 6. I think it is a Gemini model underneath with some guardrails. If I click on agent details, you'll see that I have given it system prompt and agent goals. This button here enables you to sync with your SDK code every interval of 60 seconds in this case, right? You can disable that as well if you want. But once you publish this, right, and it says published here, this agent with its version 9 is available for you to use. You can check out version history of that agent as well with different versions that are available. You can mark any of them as latest. The last important thing is your first topic creator agent needs to generate output in a certain format that the second agent understands. So that's the output schema you have defined for your agent as well. And it will verify that it's a valid JSON schema, that you're going to publish topics. And then for each topic array item, it will be a string. And then if there are additional properties, you can give them as well. Okay. So this is the outputs format you have defined here. Now, if you look at the second agent, which is the content writer agent, it's exact same input format for content writer, because the output of topic creator becomes input to content writer. So that's the exact same output here. It is using a different model. It could be using same model, and then its goals are different. Its system prompt is different. Its goal is to write the informative, engaging content based on the topics that are provided to it, right? So given these two agents are set up, okay, I'll go back to my notebook, and what I'll do is I'll just set up some functions for how to read the PDF file, how to get that input from the user. These are instructions that I already followed for topic creator and content writer. And then once I have set it up, I will go all the way to explain uh, that I'm using Google's ADK. You could be using Strands here. You could be using Crew AI. I'm just for the sake of diversity, because people bring in different LLMs, different orchestration engine, different working environments, right? So I'm using Google Colab here, using ADK, but I'm using Nova models in order to get the content written for me with FloTorch. So I'm trying to showcase the capabilities that FloTorch has with any of these tools. Doesn't mean that you have to use these tools only. You could be using SageMaker with Strands SDK and Nova models. That works very well as well. I'm creating first agent with local tool called it's a topic creator agent, and then the second agent I'm creating is for content writing. Once those two agents are initialized, I will have app runner, which runs the first and second agent here, and then it's a single turn message. So you pass to the first one, and then it passes on to the second one, and then it is done. So that I have defined that agentic flow. And if I hit the main function, if I call the main function, it's going to ask me for what URL to provide. What I've done is I've passed this URL to it as input. Let me show you what that URL looks like. It's actually World Economic Situation and Prospects Executive Summary for 2024 report by United Nations. It's a long report with a lot of information covering different aspects of economy and around the world. So what I'll do is I'll pass that in PDF as input URL,
Mm.
and I'll ask my first agent, in this case it is Gemini Pro, to figure out what tool to use, and then pass this URL and get the content. So first it will extract all the content for that. Once the content is extracted, it has to come up with 5 topics, up to 5, not necessarily only 5. So it will analyze this content, and it will come up with these 5 topics: global economic growth, all the way to international trade and multilateral cooperation. Once these are done, it will pass on the control to the second agent, which is a content writer agent. Using Nova Pro, it will come up with the content for each of those topics, and it will write output like this. So that's your final output for what the content summary for this document would look like, right? So this is the output of the agent. And if I now go back, if I execute this, right, and if I go back to logs, I will notice that I will have about 5 logs that are created here, and I'll be able to explain to you what each of them does. So these are the 5 logs that are created just now. And for these 5 logs that I'm highlighting here, right, uh, there are there are calls that are made by agent. So you'll notice that the tokens are not mentioned here. They are just NA. So these are agent calls, but internally it made first call to Gemini Pro 2.5 to first understand what URL to parse, what tool to call. The second call was made to actually summarize the content into 5 topics. So you'll notice the number of tokens is high, right? And then the corresponding cost and latency would be high as well, right? Once that is done, it will pass on to the second content writer agent, which essentially is using Nova Pro, and it will take that content for those 5 topics, and it will generate the output tokens. And these are the corresponding costs, these are the corresponding latencies, right? And all these traces are available to you by simply clicking on it. You'll see exactly where those 8 seconds were spent, and what each of these look like. So let me click on these, and you'll notice that there are responses collected at every single point and tell you how much time it took, right? So this gives you a complete information about what happened under the hood. The second piece of information for your manager, for your CIO, is to see where these calls are being made and which models are being used, right? So, like I mentioned, Nova Pro is being used as one of the models, right? But what about the calls that are being made, right? If I just look at my last 45 days history, I'll you'll notice that over 15,000 calls have been made, and I have had 17,000 requests that were successfully handled. What were my input output token costs were with different models, and I have my own leaderboard, right? These are different models I have used. These are different requests I have made to that model with different token counts, average latency, and then the corresponding costs. So all this information is available to you by simply using the SDK. Okay, I will go back to the last slide, and then I will answer if there are any questions. How are we doing on time? We are doing okay.
Yeah. We're doing great.
I tend to lose
I
track
think
of time when I get excited
yeah,
about this. But this is the most exciting part for me that I wanted to showcase, right? So bookmark this. If you see this slide, okay, we are launching this on October 24th. You would have daily access to most popular LLMs on Bedrock. All of this, your Sonnet 4.5, your Haiku, your Nova Pro, Nova Micro, Lite, any of these models are available for you to use with any of these agents. You'll have, if you sign up for FloTorch.ai account, you should be seeing from 24th onwards Bedrock as one of the default providers with these models already available to you. And like I mentioned, there is a Python SDK available, code samples. I already shared one with you. There are more available. You can use it with Google's ADK, Strands, AutoGen, LangChain, LangGraph, Crew AI, you name it. Okay. You can use it the way you want with your existing frameworks, with your existing code assistants, and uh, you can use it in a way that you can experiment. So the goal for FloTorch is for maximum number of people to get their GenAI POCs running in such a way that today is 4.5 Sonnet. If tomorrow 5.8 comes, right, from Sonnet, you don't have to change anything in your business application. You simply go on the gateway, you update from 4.5 to whatever the new version is, and nothing else needs to change on your business application side. The gateway will take care of how to translate your request to the new model, right? You want to add guardrails, you can add them from Bedrock. It is as easy as going to your gateway settings and adding guardrails and just use them. If you want to use memory, agent core memory will be available by end of this month as well. Mem0 is also going to be available as one of the providers. So it gives you range of options to do your GenAI development with. Now the last part is, if you have done all this development, how do you go to production? Again, the governance that we support with different user accounts, the observability that we provide, the security that we provide with this gateway allows you to go from development to production through proper CI/CD pipeline. And all this is available not just through SDK, but also as a API endpoint. Okay. I'll take a
It's
pause here. If there are any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
I mean, Eswar, this is super awesome. I mean,
yeah,
the technology you guys have here, I think, will be awesome for like our partners and our customers to use. I mean, the visibility you guys give, the cost visibility, everything's really cool. So, to the
yep,
audience, please go and try out the FloTorch demo. I am definitely going to try it. So, I hope that you try it, and the launch on 24th. I can't wait for that. Thank you, Ahmed Eswar, for being here on GenAI Live. Please come back. We love to hear more about your product. And the rest of the audience, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having us, Brian.
Welcome to this exciting episode of GenAI Live. My name is Brian Terry, and I'm a senior partner solution architect here at AWS, focusing on GenAI migrations. And I'm joined here with my good friend Parajad. Parajad, welcome, and how about you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, everyone. And I'm Parjat Awasthi. I'm a senior partner solution architect at AWS, and I specialize in modernization, migration solutions. And these days, I sprinkle a lot of GenAI solutions because that's what our customers and partners want. They want Gen to achieve their business objectives using GenAI, agentic AI. And again, this is a partner-specific show, so I'm always blown away by all the unique, innovative solutions that are partners are developing using AWS technologies. And I cannot wait to see what our next guest has to tell us about their unique solution that they built with AWS technologies.
Oh, absolutely. But before we do that, let's just recap that our first beginning of the segment, we talked to FloTorch, and they showed us an awesome solution they have around agents and orchestration. I thought it was really cool, and they're offering a free trial, so please check that out. We'll drop a link here in the chat so you can actually do that. And if this is your first time joining us for GenAI Live, we're here every Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, right?
Yep.
So we're on the second half here, John, and we do have another couple of partners here to talk about their solution. I'm super excited. So how about we bring them on?
Yes, let's do that.
Welcome to GenAI Live. How about you introduce yourself?
Gus, do you want to go ahead?
Excellent. No, thanks, Kevin. First of all, super excited to be here. Thank you very much, Brian, and Bernard for having us. I'm Gus. I'm the Director of Engineers of Fabacus.
Hi, welcome, Gus.
Thank you.
All right. And my name is Kevin Epstein. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect at SnapSoft. And I've been in the cloud business a good amount of time. I started pretty much as a customer in much the same way that Gus and Fabacus are back in 2009. So I've been at this a little while. And been in the ecosystem ever since. I'm an AWS only engineer, so that's all I speak about.
Awesome, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Kevin, tell us a little bit about SnapSoft. What is SnapSoft for the people who don't know?
Sure. So SnapSoft is like I mentioned, we're an AWS only consulting partner. We're a premier partner. And for those who don't know, there are multiple tiers in the partnership and partner ecosystem. Premier is the top ones. We're in the top couple percent of partners. And what we do is we work with customers to help enable whatever their vision might be on AWS. Some of our customers are already on AWS and they're looking to do the next project. Some of our customers are coming to the platform for the very first time and just trying to figure out how to get started. And that's where we come in. And we bring a wealth of engineering from solutions architecture to actual engineering, so it's hands on keyboard and everything in between.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah. So we heard from Fabacus about some of the lessons that they learned about. What advice do you have for the customers who are just getting started on the GenAI journey?
So probably the most key thing I could suggest to customers is GenAI is super exciting. Everybody wants to be in on the GenAI party, and I think that sometimes the end goal is this big grand vision, and that we have to have that. But I always like to say, sort of pare that down just a little bit and think about the incremental steps along the way. Find the POC that you can do, constrain it as much as possible. Because you're gonna find a result much more quickly. It'll be a lot easier to get to that result. And if there's one thing that AWS really recommends to all customers is be iterative. So do the first step, get the result, and then take the next step. That would be my number one piece of advice to customers just getting started.
Yeah, well said. I love how you put it. It's a GenAI party.
Yeah. So So we understand that the end goal, can be pretty challenging, starting with the POC and keep that narrow scope and then iterate. So why should customer consider using a partner like SnapSoft?
So it's a great question, and often we get this from from customers directly, like, why do we need you? Why do we need a consultant? And really, in my mind, there's really two reasons why customers are interested in working with partners. The first might be that they don't have the in-house skills. So this is still fairly nascent technology, and it seems like everyone is learning at breakneck speeds, but not everyone is there just yet. So one reason is really just skills. We don't have them in-house, and so we reach out to a partner to help us with that. And the other reason we see customers reaching out to partners like ourselves is that they have business as usual. They have to keep the lights on. They have to maintain what they have, as well as try to innovate at the same time. And so it just becomes a bit of a bandwidth problem for our customers. And so they can't stretch and cover all the bases. And that's where we can come in and help accelerate initiatives for them, and just bring in additional engineering resources and get those goals and initiatives moving faster for them.
Super interesting. So that's kind of what you've done here with the combining you two companies. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys are working together to solve a problem?
So absolutely, and I'm going to invite Gus to chime in here a little bit as well. But the way we partnered up was, Fabacus had a POC, and they were actually looking to promote to MVP and get their product and platform out in front of users as well. So Gus, maybe we can chat, switch to you for a moment, and I'm super curious. Obviously we've worked together, but I'm super curious, just for the wider audience, how has generative AI, how's it changed how Fabacus's executives and business teams use data on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, 100%, Kevin. Thanks very much. So first of all, just as a quick intro, Fabacus, to give some context, we are a software company based in London, and we operate what we call a data as a service solution. So for us, data is in our DNS. So we have a lot of data, and we're working primarily in the licensing and retailer industry. And some of the largest licensors in the planet already work with us. But we wanted to go a little bit beyond that. So in the world of data, you're very familiar with having dashboards, interfaces, but the reality is that some of these interfaces might not give a lot of information to the users. They might present the data, but actually there are more questions than answers. So we wanted to go beyond that. We wanted to go beyond a regular dashboard and try to use new technologies like business intelligence solutions to bring that data to life. So thanks to SnapSoft, we created this POC, and that's exactly what we're doing. We are democratizing the access to the data by building a business intelligence tools, a generative business intelligence tool on top of the data that we have at Fabacus.
Yeah, I think this is a key thing that we see a lot of, and I think Fabacus is onto something interesting here in that we have apps, we have dashboards, we have ways of getting at data, but sometimes our users are asking questions we didn't imagine, and so as soon as they do that, it gets very challenging, and they think, well, how can I ask that question? I'm not a SQL engineer. I don't know how to write that query. So I think you guys are onto something very interesting here. Maybe you could point out for us, something in specific around some efficiencies that you've seen when deploying this MVP. Were there any measurable sort of insights or results that you were able to key on, and that sort of told you that you were heading in the right direction?
Yeah, 100%. So for us, before we started with the project, it was very important that we created this, we call these KPIs, to measure how the solution that we created has an impact, not only for us, but also for our clients. Now, coming back to these ones, time to answer was something very important for us, because it's not necessarily of getting the answer directly from the agent. It's just all the conversation that needs to go between our client and the engine to get that answer that they're looking for. So the total time to answer is a measurable metric that allow us to ascertain how effective is the tool that we are creating. And of course, as you mentioned before, in regular terms, get information out of data requires someone that knows SQL, someone that can interpret the data. But we by reducing the number of people that you have in order to get your answer out of the system, that's another metric for success. And of course, as you can see in the slide, the ease of use is very important, because we want to make this tool accessible for absolutely everyone. So as long as we have either a C-suite able to use the tool, all the way to engineers using the tool as well to get the data faster, then that's also a metric that is a positive metric for us. So these are keys. And thanks to the development we have done, a lot of the time to get an answer has been reduced. There is less people involved into getting that answer. And of course, you have various different people throughout the organization using the tool.
Yeah, super interesting. Something I'm curious about, and just a little bit ago, I mentioned that we generally like to encourage our customers to think about their North Star, or the small next incremental step that they're going to make. But obviously, North Star is a little bit sort of, that's aspirational. That's where we're going. When you envisioned the project, what was that North Star for you, and how close do you think you've come to that at this point?
So the initial North Star for this particular project was being able to give this tool to make it accessible for everyone. We wanted, because with the growth of chats, people are more used to ask questions to systems that just click and look for answers. So the North Star was exactly that, was to give the flexibility to the users to have a natural conversation with the data. And that was the point, for them to feel that they have a conversation with the data that they have in our systems. Instead of having to go and click and drill down and so on, it just to make it natural, easy, and that was the core. It was a soft objective. Okay, we have the data, we know how to process it, now let's make it accessible to the user in the most natural way, which is just talking to it. And that was the North Star. And so far, since the PO and the MVP, we're getting closer and closer to this goal. Because it's not only transferring just a natural question to SQL, it's actually giving some context, potentially drawing an image, creating a plot, and all of those niceties that the agents are capable to do these days.
I think you mentioned something super key there as well, and something that I think a lot of our customers will learn over time is that you mentioned you're getting closer and closer to the North Star. It's an iterative process, and as you get closer, you find new ideas as well that are going to crop up as well. And maybe switching focus just a little bit, I am kind of curious as well. When you went from proof of concept to MVP, what were the biggest lessons you learned? And just for some context, typically when you do the small thing, the POC, and you're just trying to prove the thing, typically we can get a result and it looks pretty good. But then scaling up is where customers generally find the things that weren't necessarily considered, or where the scaling challenges would be. So I'm kind of curious, what were the lessons that Fabacus learned along the way?
100%. So one of the most important lessons that we learned was the importance of flexibility. So we wanted to create an agent and a system that was flexible in order to be able to interact with different models, because we didn't want to create just an agent that worked with one particular to one particular model. We wanted to be able to pick and choose different models depending upon the task that was at hand. And flexibility was fundamental from going from that POC to the MVP, because during the POC we use only one or two agents, but then you notice that actually certain LLMs, they have a better behavior for certain type of questions, and some other have much better and richer result on the answer for different type of questions. So having the flexibility to pick and choose dynamically and at will was fundamental for us, and that was something that we learned, and that was critical for us. And also make sure that the tools that we use grow with us. So make sure that from the beginning, all the tools and the technologies that we started to use grow with us, with our client base, with our needs, and so on. And that was something that we emphasize as well. And Snapshot have been very good on suggesting the tools. And of course, we're using some great tools from AWS to make sure that is scaled from the onset. From the POC, we started to use Lambdas on all different type of databases and Amazon Bedrock that is scaled with the solution. So flexibility and scalability are two key points for us, moving from that POC to MVP.
So Kevin, when Gus talked about his requirements for this application, and then you get SnapSoft brought in, like, what was your approach to creating the solution? Once you got that feedback in and you knew what they wanted to create, what does the process look in order to make their dream a reality?
So Brian, for you, this will be, you've heard this one before. For our audience, it may be new, but there's a lot of working backwards that has to happen. So we start with what the end goal looks like, and then work from there. So we take, what Fabacus is, what they were trying to get, and that was that North Star. And then we sort of work backwards from those business requirements, and then you end up with the technical requirements that help drive, those results for the business. It's a repeatable approach. We do it pretty much with all of our customers, and it really sort of, if you take that approach, you're much more likely to be successful, because ultimately everything we do as technologists is in support of a business outcome, right? I know the technologists in the room, we love to think like, hey, we're doing amazing things, and that in itself should be enough, but we're driving business, and so we have to get those outcomes. I also want to key in on something that Gus said that I thought was super interesting, and he mentioned that they discovered that there's multiple models and that they do different things, they perform better at different things, and I think this is super key. There is, everyone gets a little bit carried away with how powerful the model is, and almost like there has to be one model to rule them all, and that's not true at all. I think there's space enough for all the models, and so whether you're using Nova or whether you're using Claude or one of those other models, you're going to find that different models just have a slight edge in different areas, and so it's you need to do the experimentation.
Oh, can you talk a little bit about how you approach that? Like, what does the path for experimentation look like when trying to decide which model is going to work the best for this solution?
So, I think AWS helps us a lot in this regard, particularly on Bedrock. They have playgrounds, and so we can actually in the console, you can quickly just open up the playground, quite literally just type a question and see what the result would be. And they have other tools inside of Bedrock where you can actually have you can curate a bit of a prompt library, so you can test your prompt libraries. There's also tools where we can actually do automated testing of some of the results. So it's kind of that, and then obviously a little bit of during the POC, just seeing what results we get, getting feedback from our users. So Gus will know for sure, as we work with the POC user group, getting feedback, and that's a key thing, right? You're constantly getting feedback, and you have to make that simple. So whether if after every question you created like a survey, people aren't going to answer that. But if you do a thumbs up, thumbs down, it takes almost no effort, and it's super easy to get a bit of feedback. Yeah. So there's multiple ways, do the experimentation and then get real user feedback.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think, and Bedrock provides this feature called model evaluation. So using that, you can compare the performance of different models, and also to your point, Kevin, thumbs up, thumbs down is a very quick and easy way to get a feedback on how the responses are with how the users are finding the responses from these different models, and that you can keep into consideration whether to stick with this model or change it with something else. That's
Yeah,
really interesting.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and
So,
yeah.
go ahead.
So, no, I just wanted to quickly also, talk about like Amazon Quick Suite. So that also does something similar, like, it connects to so many different data sources in the organization, in the enterprise, and then the user can talk to that data. And since it can talk to so many different data sources, it will provide you a more contextualized response based on, the question that the user asks. So yeah, so literally the information is at the fingertips, and now onwards you can really talk to that information.
Correct.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited, that you guys came together and you created this awesome solution for the customers. Can you talk a little bit about how the customers are using the solution now that it's moved from a PLC to, your vision?
Yeah, 100%. So now that we're working on the MVP, and we've been presented this to initial group of clients, they're loving it, and the reaction is all the same. I need it now. I need to have all of this available for all my data, and not only on the licensing section, but across the organization. So you can see that there is a huge appetite on clients to start this engagement, this conversation with the data that they have, because they feel disfranchised, they feel disconnected, because there are so many layers between them. And if you don't understand your data, how can you optimize your sales? How could you optimize anything that you run if you cannot reach the data and get information out of it? So the feedback has been very, very good.
Oh man, I'm super excited to hear that. So, you have what you have right now. So what does the future look like for both your companies in developing the next thing? Can you talk a little bit about that, or what you're looking to do?
Yeah, 100%. So we've been discussing already with SnapSoft, and I think for us the natural evolution is going to be to genetic AI, to try to create an agentic business intelligence solution, because when you ask a question, the agent is just creating that answer for you, is creating something for you. However, what we want to happen is that the agent do things for you. Imagine you come on a Monday and you start doing your work, and then suddenly you're receiving some automatic information. Say, oh, by the way, we noticed that there is a new trend in this particular territory. So we should move more inventory there, for example. So it's having the agent go to your data, analyze the trend, and suggest actions that for you as a business drive your objectives. And that's exactly where we want to go next.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you're moving from information to action
Exactly.
using the agent. So that's really the most logical path forward from where you are right now. So tell us more about, is this like an product that the other customers can use? Is it a licensed product, or how is it? Tell us more about that.
So at the moment, this is inside our core system, which is called Celaco. So it's mainly for existing clients as an extension of the dashboards and the different data solutions that we have. But there is none stopping us opening that to complete different data sources and so on. But for now, we want to cater for the needs of the business and our clients. But yeah, we're excited to see what the future holds.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
That's awesome. So we have just kind of a few minutes left in this interview. Let's talk about how the audience can contact you. What are your socials? What should they know about your companies? If you want to just talk about any links, any blogs, we're opening it up to you.
Yeah. So yeah, for us, it's fabacus.com is the domain. You can get some information about our products, our company. And yeah, we love to hear from you. You can find links to socials from there.
Awesome.
And from the SnapSoft side, you can find us at snapsoft.io. And if you're into LinkedIn, you'll find me. Just search Kevin Epstein. You'll find me. My profile picture didn't change very much, apparently. So it'll be easy to find me. And I think from our perspective, we're always interested in understanding what potential customers are doing out there and how we may be able to help them. And equally important, we'll tell them like, hey, that's something that we're uniquely suited to, and we can help you, and it's going to be amazing. But we're also very self-aware. So if it's something outside of our window, we'll say, hey, we'd love to help you, but we'll partner up with AWS or someone else to get you that result, because it's outside of our window if that may be the case.
Well said. Well said.
Well said.
So reInvent is coming around the corner. So will any of your companies be there at reInvent?
So SnapSoft will be at reInvent. We'll have a team out there, and it's an exciting time of the year. As anyone who's been before, they'll know it's a great event. The opportunity to learn, it really is a unique and different event, right? Because it is really centered about learning and all the sessions. And so we just hopefully we'll run into you out there.
Likewise.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And I just want to say that, AWS is releasing these services, so many services, like 200 plus services, right? And a lot of them are in the space of generative AI. And the customers, they often find it difficult that how do I make sense of all these different services that AWS provides? So that's where partners like SnapSoft come in, and with their skill and expertise to build the right solution for the customer. And to your point, Kevin, working backwards from the North Star that the client has, and, help them move to achieve their objectives into a tangible outcomes, in other terms like moving them from POC to production. So that's where SnapSoft and partners like SnapSoft, they really move the needle for us and the customers.
Yeah, and I echo that. For us, it was very, very important to have a partner like a SnapSoft to help us on this walk, to walk these waters of the year of GenAI. And of course, by having our workloads already on AWS, extending to use some of the other products, but knowing what to use was also very important. So we're very happy.
Wonderful.
Right. Well said. Well, thank you both for being here in GenAI Live. We love to hear success stories just like the one that you just talked about. And if you have more success stories, or is there some other innovations that's going on, that we would love to hear about it. So please, you have an open invitation to come back.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gus. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Parajad. Thank you, audience, for this exciting episode of GenAI Live. Again, we are here every Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think we're doing it every 2 weeks now, Parajad.
Yes, every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's only because we're prepping for reInvent. So stay tuned, and we will see you on the next episode.